What up, internet? What's going on? It's Aaron, your personal driver, and today I'm doing a live stream, guys. Ask me anything, go ahead and ask it in the chat box and I'll answer it. More importantly, I'm starting off a brand new web series for brand new drivers. So we're talking about drivers who just signed up, people who are thinking about becoming drivers. You know, I'm going to answer basic ABC questions like how you use the app, how to do customer service, stuff that maybe professional drivers who've been doing this for a year or two don't necessarily want me to do a professional edited video on, but just a quick tip for you guys. And so today we're going to talk about basic strategy for when you first sign up. So you've never taken a ride before, you just download the app, you don't know what to do. How do I do Uber? So that's the stuff I'm going to answer today, in addition to any of your questions that you may have. So with that, let's get it started. Mystro! Okay, so that wasn't as smooth as I was hoping. I'll have to work on that for next time. But like I said, it's the first live stream, so I accidentally played the intro twice, I guess, in the first mistake thing. Anyway, so just to let you guys know, up here is the chat. Go ahead and ask me anything you want to during this live stream. It is live right now, so you can ask me anything in the chat, and I'll answer it while I'm getting ready to talk, okay? So the first thing I want to tell all of you new drivers out there is make sure you didn't sign up for Uber for free, okay? Uber and Lyft both, and actually basically any rideshare company offers incentives to get new drivers. So what you need to do is make sure you get that incentive. So if you're a new driver or you're thinking about signing up to be a new driver, you have 14 days for Uber to pay you their bonus money. So hit me up on Twitter, hit me up on Facebook, hit me up on, well, this live stream if you need to, or on Facebook, and all that stuff will be in the link below after the live stream. So just go ahead and contact me, and I'll make sure you guys get your money. I mean, some markets, they pay up to 500 bucks. So if you're a new driver and you just signed up and you didn't get 500 bucks, that sucks, but I can help you as long as it hasn't been 14 days. Okay, so just to let you guys know also, I'm going to adjust my hat. Everything is live, so it just looks at, it's on straight on my head. It's just in a funny angle on the camera, driving me nuts. Anyway, it's the problem with live streams, right? Well, now it's sideways, and I hate it even more. I hate my life. So anyway, today we're going to go over basic strategy for new drivers. And I basically have 3 tips I want to talk about. I see these a lot of on online forums, like, hey, I'm new, what should I do? Like, where are the hot spots? Any suggestions? That kind of stuff. And it's not really that, I don't know, serious, I guess. Like, so I don't really answer those kind of questions. And I don't feel like going through the motions of recording a video and editing it and, you know, putting music in it and putting an intro and outro and all that kind of stuff. So I'll just do a live stream, talk to people. Thanks, babe. Dorothy says, looking good. So what should you do? What should you expect? You just signed up, right? Well, the biggest problem new drivers have is fear, okay? I've signed up 2 drivers in my neighborhood here that wanted to start, and they both were like, gosh dang, man, I don't know what to do. Like, one I had to actually do Uber with. Like, we went to the parking lot and we sat in the parking lot, and like, I was like, okay, this is how you turn your app on, and just wait for a ping. And then I sat there with him in the parking lot until he got one. Once he did one ride, like, he was like totally good. He's totally good. And the same thing with my wife. So my wife signed up for Uber to check it out because she knew I did it and wanted to know what I was doing. And she like signed up, and she wouldn't drive for like a long time because she was so worried. She's so scared. And so I guess my first bit of advice to you is, if you're a new driver, is just do it. Do you recommend introverts to be TNC drivers? Anyone can be a TNC driver. It doesn't matter if you're introverted. In fact, there are people who are deaf and they don't do Uber. So, I mean, they do Uber, right? They just can't talk, and that's fine. And you don't have to have customer service skills necessarily to do this job. Trust me, there are plenty of people with bad customer service. So if you're afraid of people, don't worry about it, man. You can still do it. So anyway, the whole point of everything I'm trying to get to is just take a deep breath, get in the car, and turn the app on, and it'll work out. You'll be all right. Okay. So that leads me to my first tip. What they do is they're really worried about. No, go out. My wife's here. She's trying to go through the door and make a bunch of noise. Don't do that. Yeah. So just drive, guys. It's gonna take a while. Tony Stoll says, "Yo, yo, yo, yo." Hey, what's up, Tony? How you doing, buddy? Good to see you again. So, like, I have a specific strategy. When I get in the car, I go to make money. I go to certain areas. I go to like at a certain time on certain days, and I go get money where I know there's going to be money. But that's not how you start. You don't know where the money's at. You're brand new. In fact, a lot of you who are just starting, this is like your first business, so you've never done anything like taxes or kept track of how much money, how you make money, that kind of stuff. You never use an Excel spreadsheet. Unless you've been a taxi driver, you've never done Uber or Lyft, right? You're brand new. So you just have to do it, and you're going to fail. Like, part of being a business owner is failing, right? Part of doing YouTube is failing. Part of doing Uber is failing. Part of like doing any startup is part of failing. That's how you learn, is by failing. So just get in the car, turn the app on, and go drive. Don't have any plan. Don't think you know how to game the system. I'm telling you, until you have 500 rated rides where customers give you feedbacks, you're new, in my opinion. And if you are new, you don't have 500 rated rides, you don't know how this game works. So you need to get out there and just go. You might not make as much money as other people. You might not make as much money as you thought you were going to. In fact, you might be losing money. That happens when you start a business. Like, this isn't employment. You don't go to McDonald's, or it's not like you go to McDonald's, you get a name tag and a uniform, and then they pay you by the hour. That's not how this works. It's not an hourly job. You only make money from grinding, and you don't know where to grind. So you just need to get out there and do it. And if it sucks for a while, that's fine. But trust me, you'll eventually learn. And that's that magical 500 rated trips. So trips where people have decided to tell you either you suck or you're awesome. Tony says, checking local papers online for events, unknown stuff like ethnic festivals, conventions, might not create surge, but lots of people will need rides. That is a great tip. So yeah, I'm actually going to get to that, Tony. You jumped the gun a little bit on my thing, but this is just, like for starting out. But yeah, that is a good tip. So anyway, what I mean by just drive is you're going to have to get rides on your belt to know what you're doing, to use the software, to get a hold of your city, because every city is different. Every county is different. Like, just because I'm killing it up here in Seattle doesn't mean I'm going to be able to go to Chicago and then instantly start killing it there. You need to know where the money's at, okay? And it's okay to lose money up front in a business for long-term success. So, experiment a little bit. Don't be afraid. If you go out Wednesday at noon and you don't make any money and you sit there for 2 hours and you don't get any rides, that's not a failure at first when you're starting out. Now, if I go out and I work and I don't make any money for 2 hours, yeah, that's a failure. I failed. But when you're new, who knows? Wednesdays at noon might be the busiest time of the week and you don't know. Because I'm serious. There are times where during the week it's better to drive than it is like on a weekend or something. So, just keeping it real there. Okay, so just get out and drive and don't worry about it. Trust me. You'll make money eventually. It takes about usually 3 months to get 500 rated rides, unless you're super full-time about it and just grinding 12 hours a day. And you'll get there. So it's a business, it's an investment, and just realize up front you might be in the red, and that's fine. And that leads us to tip number 2. I'll be more specific for new people on how Surge works, but just realize Surge pays you extra money because there are more requests than there are current drivers. Just basically how it works. That's all you need to know as a new driver. But what the biggest failure, I think, or not failure, I should say, the biggest mistake, that's a better word, that new drivers have is they do what some people call surge chasing. Okay, it's like a coin. It's not really true. You're not really chasing surge because you should technically always be chasing surge. But we'll deal with the specifics of surge in a different video because it can get kind of complicated. But just know that like full-time drivers and drivers even do this part-time but make a lot of money doing this, take surge rides. And what surge is, on everyone calls it surge, but on Lyft it's prime time. Prime time is the same thing as surge, depending on, so it doesn't matter what platform you're on. So what they do is they see surge and they just turn on their engine and they drive as fast as they can for the surge, and then they get there and they don't get any rides. And so people have done that and then come up with what's called the no surge chasing strategy. And this kind of ties back to my first tip. So don't worry about surge when you're new because you don't really know how to work the surge system yet. Just drive, okay? If someone gives you whatever you get, just get it and go. It doesn't matter if it's, Uber Pool, if it's regular UberX, Uber XL, whatever your platform is. When you're new, just take it. Just take the ride. But you should either have a pen and paper in the car or some kind of digital media in order to watch it. So what I mean by that is Waze, for example, you can record like events and such like that. And there are other apps you can use on your phone. But you need to write down and record every time there is a surge. And the reason for that is sometimes there are events that happen either annually, weekly, or monthly that need service. In my market, a big one is what's it called? Alcohol Anonymous and other drug rehab programs. And the way I found that out is like every day, not every day, every Tuesday or whatever. At a certain time period, I mean, I don't want to put these people out there, so I'm not going to do it on the internet live. There was surge in this like really weird spot, and I didn't know why. So I kept seeing it every Tuesday, and so I was logging it in like, God, there's surge again Tuesday. It's a weird spot, and it turns out there's an Alcohol Anonymous meeting, and people took rideshare to the meeting and then from the meeting. Well, when they left, there's no drivers around because it was like in the middle of the week on Tuesday. And so I started every Tuesday just logging in and taking those Alcohol Anonymous rides that were surging. That's one example, but you're not going to know all the events going on in your place of business unless you are doing a little research. So while you're getting those first 500 rated rides, okay, basically the first 3 months, you need to record every time you see surge where it is, and that way you can get into more research. Okay. The reason for that is not to jump ahead. You want to go A, B, C, D, not A, B, C, F, but to jump a little bit ahead. You can't get surge unless you're already in the surge area when it starts. And what I mean by that is the reason people think surge is fake, or they think that surge chasing is a bad idea, is because they arrive to the area where there is surge too late and all the people who need rides are already gone. Because surge lasts for about half an hour to 45 minutes after the last request. So it's important to get to where the surge area is beforehand, and you won't be able to do that as a new driver. You won't know where the surge is if you don't have a record of where things are surging. And you can also, if you're not doing this full time, say you're at work, or you're hanging out with your buddies or in class or whatever, just turn on your phone real quick or your tablet or whatever you're doing and just check out Uber, right? Check out Lyft, see what's going on. And if there's prime time, right? Oh, damn, right by 45th Street, 1 p.m. on Wednesday, whatever it is. Because as you gather all this data, okay, and you get all these hot spots down on paper, you'll notice patterns, okay? Sometimes surge is just random, right? Like there's a business meeting at Red Lobster, and there's a bunch of people that drank because it was a business meeting, and afterwards they got all drunk. So for whatever reason, on that specific day, everyone needs a ride from Red Lobster drunk, and the surge goes up. Well, that doesn't happen every week. It doesn't happen every month even, right? But note it down, because some things do develop a pattern, and then later on, once you've got the rides under your belt, you can then go into specific areas, basically with the goal of killing it on the surge. Okay? So remember, first is just drive. Just get used to the app. Just do your thing. Get used to people getting in and out of your cars. Learn, basic customer service. They're going to ask you the same 10 questions. That way you can, have answers to those questions. Just get the app going, okay? Number 2, keep track of the surge. Write down every time and place that a surge happens or prime time happens, so that way you know specifically how to go make that extra money, okay? And then next week, next Wednesday, we'll talk about payment. How you get paid, how you get expenses tracked, that sort of thing. And so then we'll talk more about surge then. But until then, I wouldn't really worry. I will not worry about it for this specific times, okay? And then the last newbie tip I have today. What you need to do is just experiment. I guess this driver 3 tip could have just been experiment, okay? Like I said before, if you fail, don't worry about it. If no one gets in your car and you don't make any money, that's okay. That's okay. That's okay at first, Once you depend on the money, right? Once you've been doing this for a year or so, that's not okay. But it's okay for you because you don't know. How do you know that Wednesday morning is going to be slower than Saturday night? In a lot of markets, especially big cities, New York, Boston, LA, okay? In cities like that, early morning during the week will make you more money than any bar time. And that's just a fact, Jack. That's not everywhere. So how do you know? You don't know. You don't know unless you try. One strategy a lot of people like when they live in the suburbs is they wake up early, they turn their phone on, they make breakfast or whatever, because about once or twice a week, they'll get a long airport ride. Someone will be leaving at Tuesday in the morning at 5:30. So they just turn off the stove, go get them, and make $100, $250 on the, because they have to drive for 45 minutes to the airport. I mean, you don't know unless you do it, right? So I'm not saying if you turn your phone on at your house, you're going to get a $100 ride. I don't know your market. I don't know if there are people who need to go to the airport and how far the airport is from you. Okay? And so do that. Go to the airport. I don't ever stay in the airport queue. I hate the airport. I don't do it. I don't think you can make a lot of money in the airport. But that's my airport. I'm up here in Seattle. I don't know. Your airport could make a lot of money. Go to the airport and hang out. See what it's like. Check it out. Maybe you can make a lot of money at the airport. There's hotels, there's bars, there's clubs, there's all kinds of stuff. And unless you try something new, you won't get the edge on the other drivers, okay? So in the beginning, it's okay. Just relax, take a deep breath, do your thing, and then get going. Is decking out your car with games or candy worth it? I personally just drive customers from point A to point B and seem fine with a high rating of 4.5. So that's a different video all on itself, and I will get to that. But the short answer is you don't provide things like water and candy and such like that for a rating. Okay, that's not what ratings are for. You do it for money. People are more likely to tip you in cash or on the app if you are providing some sort of service for them. Okay, so that's why people go out of their way. If you get in a car and you're not an asshole and your car is clean and you take them from A to B, you should be able to maintain a high rating. If you're getting consistent low ratings, then that means you suck at your job. And we can talk about ratings later. But don't worry. If you're new, don't worry about ratings, okay? Until you get 500 rated ratings. So the way, I'll just talk about ratings now because of that question. So Lyft gives you an average rating based upon your previous 100 rides that have been rated. Okay, usually about half the people who you give rides to give you ratings. So if you have 100 5 stars in a row, your rating will be 5 stars. If you don't, then it's whatever the average is. Uber's 500. So like Lyft, is really easy to have a 5-star once you've been doing this long enough. I have a 5-star rating with Lyft. it's just 100 rides, so that's 2 weekends worth of work for full-time drivers, right? Uber's harder because the history is longer, so it's 500 rides. And at first, if you're new, your rating is going to go up and down super fast. Like if one person 1-stars you, you could be driving around with a 2.0 rating, right? Because you've only gotten 3 or 4 ratings from different passengers. So don't worry about it. That's why tip number 1 is don't even worry about it. Don't worry about any of that stuff. Just drive. If you have a terrible rating, that's okay. You can have a terrible rating if you're a new driver, because you won't be kicked off the platform until you have 500 rated rides on both platforms. They won't fire you, so don't worry about it. So if you want to increase your ratings, like the water and the candy and stuff, honestly, that's not going to help your rating. There are people who offer like water and hand sanitizer and tissues and this and that and the other thing, chargers, and they still fall below 4.8, 4.7. It's not because the candy, it's because they're crappy people and they're not very good at like the whole rideshare part of the job. So yeah, if we'll talk about how or what you need for your car in a different video, or I already have a bunch of videos on my channel, so if you want to go check that out, you can definitely do that too. That's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying at driving different times of the week. So I think it takes about 3 months to get 500 rated rides, and that's obviously going to depend on how much you drive, how often you drive. So it might be 6 months, it might be 1 month. It just depends what you're doing. But generally speaking, to get 500 ratings, it takes 3 months. So what I would do is break it down by weeks, okay? Basically, you have 4 shifts, okay? You have after bars close until about 10 a.m. You have 10 a.m. to about 2 or 3, right? That's what it's like in my market. That's the slowest time period because everyone's at work. Then you have afternoon rush hour, okay, which is usually like 4 or 5 until about 10 o'clock. And then you have 10 o'clock until bar close. So think of those as 4 shifts. So you have bar closing, morning, midday, and then you have nighttime shifts, okay? Or yeah, just the evening shifts after rush hour. And each one of those shifts is going to be more lucrative in your market depending on a lot of different factors and every day of the week, okay? So in Seattle, obviously Friday and Saturday are busy at bar closing times. But I don't ever do closing on Saturday usually, because Sunday morning shift is really, you can make a lot of money. There's a really good chance that it's going to surge all over Seattle because all the drivers are tired from working all night through bar close, and so they're sleeping, and the early bird gets the worm on Sunday. In my market, this isn't everywhere, this is just how Seattle works, and maybe it won't anymore now that I'm putting it out on the internet. So there are several times where I'll get a ride instead of one, it'll be like 3 or 4 times the rates, and I'll have to, excuse me, it's live, that's what happens sometimes, and I'll have to drive them to the airport because they're going to be late if they don't get an Uber. And so they have to pay the surge. They just have to suck it up, and that's that. But you wouldn't get, so I always try to do Sunday morning, and I don't do Sunday afternoon. During the week, obviously the morning shift, so after the bar closes until about 10 is the busiest Monday through Friday in Seattle. The point I'm getting at is you're not going to know your specific market until you try it. So every week in a month, drive a different time. So the first week, just do all morning shifts. Just wake your ass up at 3 o'clock in the morning, wash yourself, have some breakfast, drink some coffee, and then drive until 10 a.m. Then the next week, do the exact opposite of that. Sleep in a little bit, get some breakfast, run some errands, and then turn your app on at 10 o'clock and do 10 until 3, 10 until 4, okay? And then the next week after that, go and do the afternoon rush, okay? And then this whole time, like I said, you just have your app on. If you're not getting rides, hey, that's okay. Don't get rides. You'll just know that that money is going to be there next week. And since there are 4 weeks in a month, you can do all 4 shifts one week and then mix it up the following week. So say you didn't do so well Monday in the morning. Okay, so next time it rolls around, you know not to do Monday in the morning. So check out Monday at afternoon rush hour. Maybe there's a lot of people who need ride home from there or whatever. It also gets you an opportunity to try different places. Okay, so you can try your local neighborhood, you can try the suburbs, you can try the airport, you can try downtown, you can try the places where all the bars and clubs go, you can try university if they're there. So, you know, what I'm trying to say is try every area that you know of in your market at every time, every day. And that's the first 3 months. So that way you know where the money's going to be at. I mean, everyone thinks that they can log in at 10 p.m. and work 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. when the bars close, and then that's it. That's their whole job. And yeah, you can make some money doing that. That's true. But there's money out there other times. You just have to know your area. And so yeah, that's basically all the all the topic I have on this specific new driver series. But every Wednesday from here on out, I will be doing a live stream, and I'm actually kind of going longer than I wanted to. I wanted these to be about half an hour, but I'll do about half an hour video to explain the ABCs of Uber to new drivers, and I'll just do a live stream. So if you know a new driver and they have any questions, just let them know. Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Your personal driver is going to be giving a video. These will be on a playlist under help ! Your personal driver to the rescue. And I will be going over just really basic stuff like this. Sorry to a lot of my subscribers. You guys have been drivers for years and you already have this information. That's what my Monday videos are for. So basically from now on, my channel on Monday is going to be tips. Not tips really, but like stuff about what's going on in Uber. Wednesday is going to be my live stream. And then Friday and Saturday will be my driver stream. So if you guys have any other questions, now's the time to ask them. And if not, I'm going to log out here so this video can upload and those new drivers can do their thing. You guys have any tips yourself? You have any questions? Let me know. Do you like the new hat? Look at that new Nintendo hat. Yeah. Also, I'm wearing subscriber gave me the shirt. I guess I should show the shirt. See the shirt here? I think it's a video game company. GeForce reminds me of a video card. I used to have a GeForce for World of Warcraft. But yeah, subscriber gave me this shirt, so I thought, you know, put the shirt on, do a live stream with the shirt. Okay, guys. Well, if there's no more questions, I'm going to deuce this out of here. So if this is a replay, go ahead and put the questions in the comments, and I'll answer those too. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do that. That should be over here. Subscribe. Oh, subscribe right down here. Everything's backwards for me. Greg to spam says, what chance of Seattle drivers voting to unionize? But mainly I want to know if my job is going to end here. I don't know what here means. So I did about 2-hour video on the Seattle unionization before all the lawsuits started. I'm like about 90% sure there's going to be a Uber and Lyft union in Seattle. It just has to clear all the courts because everyone's suing it to stop it. Is your job going to end here? If you're a Seattle driver, then the answer to that is, yeah, you're probably going to quit if you don't like Uber or Lyft. But honestly, I don't think there ever will be a long-term union. And the reason for that is I think Uber and Lyft is going to leave. So instead of driving for Uber and Lyft in Seattle, it'll be like Austin, Texas, where like for years a bunch of local companies started up to fill the gaps. Hear me in Seattle? Yeah. Okay. So if you're worried about the union, it will clear all of the legal battles and it'll be implemented. And Uber and Lyft will probably leave Seattle. Actually, I think Uber will leave. I don't think Lyft will. I think what Lyft is going to do is Lyft is going to just do whatever the regulations are for the union, and they'll just have all of the entire 100% of the Seattle market to themselves. Uber and Lyft both left Austin, and then they both came back about 2 years later, like a dog with a tail between its legs, because it's easy to start a rideshare company. It's hard to get customers. So when there is no Uber and Lyft, local companies will start up, and Seattle's a tech company, so people will like quit Microsoft and Amazon and start their own version of Uber or Lyft. And then they'll make a shit ton of money, and then Uber and Lyft will be pissed that they're not making money in the market anymore, and they'll come back. It's the same thing that happened to Austin. So somebody somewhere will comply with the union standards and then start a company and do it. But I do think Lyft, like Uber, will probably leave. Anyway, it still, I think, got 2 more lawsuits, the union law does, before it's given an okay. And ironically, the longer that these private companies try to delay the law by suing it, the more likely the union is gonna be, because the law was written in 2016. So only people who are full-time drivers in 2016 can vote on the union. And since most drivers on Uber and Lyft are part-time and they don't ever stay like longer than a year, like the average I think is 7 months, I read in an article for Uber. That means the only people voting are going to be people who have been doing it for 2 or more years when the law clears all the court challenges. So that's all full-time drivers, and all of them want unions. Now, personally, I don't really want a union up here in Seattle. I don't like... one of the reasons I do Uber is I can do it when I want to, and I can do whatever I want to when I want to. And I think with the union, there'll be more strict rules. That being said, I mean, Seattle's one of the highest rates in the country. I mean, $1.32 a mile and 25 cents a minute. In California, it's 10 cents a minute wait time, so that's crazy. I hope that answered your question, Greg. If you want to ask a more specific question, you can. And I guess I can also do an updated union video. But if you go to my my history, about 6 months ago, I did like an in-depth union video, so you go check that out. And then if you have any more questions, email me or hit me up on Twitter or Facebook or whatever, or just leave it in the comments, and then I'll answer more specifically. What is the best spot for pickups at the airport area if my car does not qualify for Uber designated areas? Y'all trying to get me in trouble. Oh shit. Okay. So, for those of you new... shit. Okay. So, for those of you new drivers, what he's talking about is every airport has its own specific requirements for you to pick up at the airport. Okay? Some people require you get a license. Some people just require that you fill out like some paperwork, like register with the airport so they know that you're an official Uber driver. Some states and cities have requirements, and so if you don't want you don't want to pay the licensing fee at the airport, or actually in some places, especially in Texas, they can't pick up at the airport, or at least they weren't able to. They might have changed that. So what happened is Uber and Lyft drivers would drive just like across the street from the airport and like hang out. So if you wanted an Uber or a Lyft instead of a taxi, you get your luggage and shit and then walk across the street, and then pick up there. So what he's asking is, I have a feeling he is a local Seattle driver. And so it used to be I forget what hotel that is. I can see it in my brain, but I can't remember if it's a Hilton or a different holiday. But so in Seattle, you have that the train that goes across. If you go under the train, like it's a tram, but it's like a train on that high rise. You know what I'm talking about? If you go under that, I think there's a Hilton in there, and that used to be the unofficial pickup area for Uber and Lyft in Seattle. So all the drivers used to go to that Hilton. I've done that, but I don't seem to get any rides. Yeah, well, if you're from Seattle, it'll be much harder to do that because for two reasons. One, I mean, it's easy as shit to get a ride at the airport now because the queues in Seattle are like 2 hours long. So there's 2 hours worth of drivers. So if a flight comes in, it's just too easy to push the request button and then go pick them up at the parking lot. So here in Seattle, it's not like it used to be. There's a long line at the airport of people wanting to pick up. And I think, because my car qualifies to the airport, so I can pick up at the airport. So it's been a long time since I've done the, you know, the legal pickup, I guess is the way to say it. So I can't say it's been, God, the last time I did that was like March of last year is the last time I did that. Because after that, I've been qualified for the airport. So I don't know, man. I'm sorry to say that. I also think the range around the hotels have increased. So what I would do is just go to the hotel and turn your app on, I guess, and see if it pops up or not. Because if you can't pick up at the airport, it'll let you know that you can't do it. But yeah, I'm not that in with it. I don't know. Sorry, I wish I could help you more. Just realize that SeaTac isn't just an airport. SeaTac is the name of a city. So there are a lot of restaurants and bars and hotels and gas stations and stuff surrounding the airport that you can legally pick up at. But I just don't think customers are doing that anymore because it's so easy to get UberEats at the airport now. You just push a button and they come right to the parking lot to pick them up. So sorry about that. Wish there's more I can help you with that. It's not the answer you wanted, but sometimes the truth isn't the answer you wanted. That's what happens. Anyone else have any other questions, either about Uber or me or in general life? I'll answer. It's what AMA means. Ask me anything. If not, we got another one here. Let's see what it says. Also, if you're a new driver and you haven't received your money, hit me up either in the comments or in. Thanks, man. You're welcome. Or like on Twitter or any of those places, Instagram, Facebook, and I'll make sure you get your referral money. Because if you're a new driver, you're entitled to up to $500 from Uber or Lyft, and I just want to make sure you don't get ripped off. You should never join this for free because they will pay you to join up. Dang, guys, this is the most people that's ever watched the live stream. So I really wish I had more to say. I've already gone over my tips for drivers, and now I'm just answering questions. Do you guys have any more questions? Have any comments? Is football starting? All right. Well, guys, I guess I'll wrap it up then. Don't forget over here. It's always backwards on the screen. Down here, you can hit subscribe, and I'll let you know whenever I upload a video or I'm doing a live stream. And don't forget to hit the stupid YouTube bell icon, because if you don't, you won't get notifications. Feel free to like it, give it a thumbs up, and leave a comment, and check out my other videos. If you have any suggestions for topics you'd like me to talk about, you can go ahead and do that too. So without further ado, I think I'm going to end it unless you guys have something else you want to say. I'll give it a few minutes here. What is it? It's 3:38. Okay, at 3:40 I'll end it then, if we don't have any more questions. I hope you guys liked it. It was a interesting experience for me. I think I still got to adjust it. It's my first real live stream like this, and it seems to be buffering a little bit more than I would like. So I'm going to mess with the settings here, and hopefully next time I'll fix that. But I guess I'll also do a union video, since that was a question someone asked. Do that next week. I have this week's video on Monday is going to be Uber Pool is the devil, and why. Because remember, Uber Pool is the devil. You never let the devil into your car, and you certainly never ask the devil to pick you up. Alright guys, your personal driver out. I'll see you Friday at 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time when I do my driver stream. Until then, have a good time, guys.